Justice League No Justice number 3. Scott Snyder, Joshua Williamson, and James Tynion the fourth, with Francis Manapul on the art. So this is wrapping up No Justice and setting up, very clearly setting up the Justice League books that are coming up. There's a few pages at the end that are just flat out saying, here's this, and this coming. So it was good. I think now that it's finished and I can look at the 4 issues as a whole now, I do feel like the actual main, like,
event.
I think my least favourite part of this final issue is actually the portion of them like actually stopping the tree stuff with the Titans, because
it
The
had
resolution.
the problem that we thought it might do after issue 2 of this might feel like just a rushed ending.
I think
Yep.
my biggest problem, and this is something that Snyder does occasionally, it's probably my biggest problem sometimes with Snyder, is that he's very good with a lot of things, but sometimes when the solution to the problem needs a lot of exposition, it does feel like I get it all very quickly. And honestly, when I usually any of the books that I read on the Wednesday, Thursday when they first came out, I'll go back and have a skim through again on the Saturday just to remind myself and see what happened. When I went back to skim this again and I started, it occurred to me that I couldn't remember how they won. I couldn't remember how they stopped it.
That's not good.
I know. I remembered the ending stuff. I remembered like where we leave Green Arrow. I remembered we leaving the teams, and I remembered the stuff with the Green Lanterns and whatnot. But how the Justice League teams actually stopped the big thing, the main thing, the Titans.
I see that. That's what I remembered more than anything. That and the heel turn out of Rill.
No, the thing I remembered most is that Supergirl got shafted.
She did get shafted. I am pissed about that.
After that tease in DC Nation, and then this is it.
Yeah, because I at least had the hope. It's like, okay, see Green Arrow annual number 2 for this backstory with Green Arrow. I was like, okay, I got a lot of Batgirl on that, and I was happy to see that. But
Supergirl got what? She's in this for like a panel. She's actually on. She's one panel.
Yeah,
and that's it.
I can't deny that is disappointing. But the actual stuff with Village Rocks going heel, and then she's in 2 panels though. Actually, Connor, now that I'm looking at it. She gets blasted with Thingy's gun. That's her getting blasted.
You're right. She is. Sorry, I overlooked that one.
Redact.
Two panels.
Redactment.
I apologise. 2 panels. I'm not counting all the panels, but 2 panels out of 22 pages.
It's funny because I read this first and then felt like maybe I should have read Green Arrow first because it says I'll go back and read this. Yeah. But then once I've read Green Arrow, no, it was right to read this one first.
They knew people were going to read this first.
Yeah. They played it as if, no, people will read this first, and then they'll get the backstory in Green Arrow, because there's stuff in Green Arrow that references what happens at the end of this. So, I like that he feels a bit more important here. I like that he does get a call out to the Lanterns, and Hal and the main Earth Lanterns come back. Except Kyle, oddly. Why would you bring Guy and not Kyle? I feel like this is just like this is just a
slap in the face of Kyle.
It is.
Well, that's because they know he's the weakest Earth Lantern.
Yeah, well,
so.
you bring in someone for a fight, you bring Guy.
I cannot get behind this logic whatsoever.
Really? The guy that is constantly in bar fights, you don't want fighting big Celestials?
Not over Kyle. I'm not mad at Guy being there. I'm saying if you're leaving one out, I'm pissed that he's the one left behind.
Anyway,
Anyway,
you gotta draw something. Maybe write a poem.
But yeah, so Amanda just wants to nuke things, and of course,
Classic Waller.
this is when the Justice League teams actually show up, and they're at Belle Reeve, so that's why it's the entropy team here, because all the teams go to the various trees. Because this is why, if I have to critique some of the small details here that kind of bugged me, I thought it was weird that they set up a big thing of like, oh, we can't get back, the ship's not working, and then the resolution to it's just like, use your mother box to like jump.
Hey, Cyborg.
Yeah.
You know that thing you're really good at, teleporting us to and from places? Why don't you do that again?
Yeah. It does feel almost a little bit like Snyder's played into the joke, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think he was.
Because I think for me the Green Lantern's entrance was a lot more impactful than the entropy team entrance.
Well, I love that he's like, "Hey, Brain Boy, like I want Snyder on Hal Jordan more." I don't know who wrote this page. If it was Williamson, Tynion, or Snyder, but either of them.
Get more of them.
I want them on Hal.
I do like that. This issue again starts with the lanterns at the Source Wall. It's a nice wraparound to the first.
Yeah, there's a bookend kind of quality to that. That's quite nice. And then the plan, which again, I feel like there's a lot to soak in here. But they basically have to, first of all, rebalance all the trees so that all the energy is kind of equal, and then they take the seeds from the trees, combine them into one, and each one has to be like fused with that energy. So various characters touch them. And there's a little bit where Deathstroke tries to fuel the entropy one, and he can't. And it's like, oh, so Deathstroke's not as entropic as we thought.
I think that makes sense to me because he's very much
Struggling.
by the job, right?
That's true. That's fair.
He causes chaos, but he isn't himself chaotic.
But Lex, on the other hand, does fuel this thing, so that's very interesting for going forward and whatnot. I think this issue neatly sets up that he's probably going to go away and start the Legion of Doom.
But that Legion of Doom, I feel like they're not this sinister, mustache-twirling group of villains. They have a purpose.
The Joker's on the team.
Yeah. But hear me out. Is this arc's going to be all about balance?
Every team needs a wild card.
We're going to quote It's Always Sunny to justify the Joker being on the Legion of Doom. All right.
That's where we're going.
So, and then once they've fueled the things, they combine the seeds, and then the plan is to shoot the seed into the Entropy Titan, and then the other 3 Titans will want to eat him instead because he'll be the one that's attracting them. Comics,
so
basically. Yeah, it's
so
over the top. I feel like that entire logic could have been spread out a little bit more for me to soak it in a little bit as before we got to that moment. It was
like 3 pages of just solid exposition.
Yeah, to explain that.
I'm not sorry that I read all this. I just wish I didn't get so excited to read it all. Like I put a lot of the burden into this. Like, oh my god, this is gonna be so awesome. Manipul's doing all the art. And then he didn't. And then it's gonna be this awesome team up, the different teams. And it's kind of like, well, we only see them separate into teams a couple times. Oh, but we get Vildrox. Oh, but he's a bad guy. So I'm just like, you guys, they're getting me. Like, they're working.
And it's worth mentioning, he sneaks off. He's still around. Vildrox is not done. He's probably going to show up in Snyder's run at some point.
He's definitely not the extra Justice League team that was teased at this point.
Not now. But that said, I do see Legion coming up.
Yeah.
And then him having his face turn again in Rebels down the line.
Maybe.
So.
But there's definitely plans for him. I do like the touch, though, that Hal's going to shoot it with a Green Lantern construct gun, and then Oliver's like, hey, I've got the best aim here. Like, make an arrow.
You're always a shit shot. Let me do it.
So I like it. This actually feel like it elevated Green Arrow quite a bit. This little mini event. So I'll applaud it for that. And then it goes to the whole sort of epilogue narration sort of style, where it starts narrating in the third person, and talking about everything that's happened. And we see the team. I love that we've set up this rivalry between Martian Manhunter and Lex. I think, as much as I have some critiques of just the kind of the rushed and arguably convoluted logic of some of the main villains here, I do like where it leaves everything for the actual books.
I think all the characterization has been fantastic in this story. All the little interactions between characters who usually you don't get, like Lex and Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
Batman and
Damian with everybody.
Damian with everybody. Starbro with everybody.
Yes.
Rest in peace, big guy.
Yeah.
He'll be back, don't you worry. But no, because there's this thing where it's like, Lex is like, no, this planet leans towards entropy, not justice. So that to me says, oh, he's going to have to start his own version of the Justice League, which is not justice, though. Hence Legion of Doom. So it makes sense. But I love that. There's this weird rivalry with Martian Manhunter, given they're both kind of the smart ones. It's a really nice touch.
And they're both bald.
That is also true. Yes.
I mean, John's is by choice, though.
Yeah, he can have hair if he wants.
If he wants hair, he's just like, all right, cool, hair.
Yeah, no, I know. I was making a joke, guys. I'm taking my spot.
Maybe that's it. Lex is jealous that Martian Manhunter could have hair whenever he wants, but he chooses not to. He chooses to.
Lex.
So to get to the setup stuff then, so we know the source wall is broken, which actually they mentioned at the start that the multiverse is dying. Now I assume we're going to fix that at some point, but at least for now we're on a clock. But we have Batman. I was not expecting the setup for the Outsider stuff here, which by the way, if they are still denying that there's an Outsiders book coming, they're damn fools.
We get it. We're getting an Outsiders book. We just announced it already.
I want to stick to their guns. Just be like, yeah, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Outsiders, Black Lightning didn't show up in Justice.
I'll be honest. Them just keep denying it now is almost a joke. So they might as well just stick with it and play it.
I guess. I mean,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because Black Lightning's in the Batcave, and Batman's like, "Hey, I need you to, start a team, and this is something we can't do publicly. This is not a league mission." And and he's like, "What about the Nightwing? What about Robin?" He's like, "Nightwing's got a mission. Robin's Robin, and he's decided to do his own things his own way. We need a team that can do things on the outside, with the outside bolded." Yeah. So Martian Manhunter then gives Green Arrow a kill switch for the Justice League, and it's a little box. We don't know what's inside it, and we get a 2-page layout. Basically split into 3, and it's like showing that they're building things and whatnot. And we see that the Odyssey team is going to have the Brainiac ship, and a clear reference to the classic New Teen Titans with Starfire and Cyborg, where Starfire's like, "Oh, as Richard used to say," and she gets like a phrase wrong. Yeah. So again, whenever they have Cyborg and someone from the Teen Titans kind of reminisce about being Teen Titans, he suddenly becomes way more interesting because he feels like he fits with those characters.
He belongs
so much more.
Yeah. It's like Richard used to say, it's the Wild East out there. West.
Classic Starfire, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it is Wild West.
Yeah,
and it sounds like there's going to need a little bit of justice, so I can get down with that.
Yeah, and we got Zatanna and Wonder Woman. Also.
Is there they're at the magic tree, right? The wisdom tree.
Yeah.
Is that going to be their base? Because obviously we see that Cyborg and stuff out here. They're at the Brainiac ship that they're going to have.
Shoot, why not?
It could be. I mean, I wasn't necessarily taking this as all these are actually their bases per se. It was more just that they're investigating this tree because that's what they're looking into, and it'll lead to this stuff.
Because obviously we know they've got teleporters to the Hall of Justice,
that's
so
true.
That's not their individual base.
I think I would assume the Dr. Fate's tower, but I mean, that's fair. That's just a guess. I don't know.
I mean, they're right next door either way.
Yeah, and then the final panel in this 2-page spread or 2-page layout is the actual main Justice League team, and I am actually jazzed about this. They make Martian Manhunter the chairman. He's the leader of the team.
Yeah, and
perfect.
Hawkgirl's just hanging around.
Yeah, Hawkgirl's on there.
Hawkgirl's there.
But I like this.
They don't really address her. They're just like, yeah, she's here now.
Because I actually I've always thought of Martian Manhunter as the leader whenever the team is actually together.
He's their elder statesman. I always feel like even if he's not on point to lead, even Batman and Superman will look to him for direction. So it's good that he's now actually in charge.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like it a lot. It feels like it's really correct and like stuff that Justice League should have been like since Rebirth. Well, since New 52 really, but especially since Rebirth, since it was fixing so much other stuff.
Instead, we got Brian Hitch.
Yeah, and then the final page is just instead of saying no justice, it says new justice, and we get the 3 teams and different panels. And it's like, hey, buy all these books that are coming out soon. Yes, we're going to be bankrupt. Thank you very much.
Well,
done.
They're already locked down. Especially that Justice League Dark. Look at that panel there of the Dark team. I'm like, yes, give me
look
that.
Look at the Odyssey team.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but this is all different artists, right? This is all the...
I believe so. It doesn't look like Manipul, but it could be.
It doesn't look like Manipul.
They all look different to me is the point I'm making, though. They all look different artists.
Yeah.
So unless Manipul's jumped and done some vastly different styles for...
Which wouldn't surprise me, because it also doesn't look like Sejic.
If I'm going to make another critique of the issue, by the way, I do think compared to issues 1 and 2, I think this is the weakest Manipul art of the 4 issues.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit more traditional Manipul. It's very much okay. Here's the thing, right?
Yeah, it wasn't blowing me away. Like there was so many atmospheric little moments in the first couple of issues when it was his art. Whereas this one, I felt like it was just getting the job done. I do wonder if this was a little bit more rushed. This issue.
Yeah, I don't know, because a lot of the stuff here is on Earth, whereas it wasn't before. Like all the stuff with the source wall, like I still think that looks phenomenal. Like all those shots. So I don't know. I wonder if it's just him trying to do a bit of a different palette for Earth compared to all the other atmospheric stuff that we're doing out in space.
Maybe right.
Just looking at the credits though, no one else is listed except Manipul.
Yeah.
It makes sense though if that's what they did. They got like the regular artists from the 3 books to do those panels at the last page.
Yeah, because it does look like different artists, but like I say, it doesn't look like Sejic for that top panel.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't. No, it doesn't.
But I'm not sure.
But hey, I wonder if they were just like trying to match the color palettes that those books are going to have.
I think so.
I wonder if I'll have a quick check of like Snyder's Twitter, see if he mentioned anything.
Oh,
It seems like the sort of thing he might have mentioned if he had.
Yeah, I think we'll rate the issue then. Matt, what are we giving this?
This is a 7.5. I like the art. I like the story. It just, as a full thing, I was a little disappointed, but that's probably my expectations.
Yeah, no, I think 7.5 is kind of perfect. I think there's some disappointment elements in this one, in terms of just the rushed conclusion and the kind of convoluted kind of explanation for how it concluded. But I like all the character beats. I like everything that's setting up for the new books. Like all that stuff's got me really excited. So yeah, 7.5 I think's very fair.
No, I agree with the 7.5. It's really solid. It's still got really nice art, even if it's maybe not quite as up to the standards of the first couple.
Which, by extension, I think I'd probably rate the entire thing probably like a 7.5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I agree. Ultimately, I feel like it doesn't quite stick the landing. It never quite. It doesn't feel like it really deserved the things it was building.
Yeah.
But I'm excited going forward, where we actually got more time to play with things rather than just here's 4 issues, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's what I'm excited about.
And the story was just a bit too big for the 4 issues.
But if this was just a spin out Justice League, Odyssey, and Dark, then I think it did its job. And it did it fairly well.
That is ultimately the point of it, is to bring everything together.
I think it's a double-edged sword, because I think, on the one hand, if you didn't want to expand it more and give it more breathing room, I think you could have just had the same amount of information in one issue. Right?
Like a special.
Like just like, here's, they had to go to Kolu, this happened on Earth, and this is where we are now. It would have skipped a lot of the character beats to do, liked, admittedly, but I feel like you either go bigger and make it at least 6 issues, give it another 2 to spread out the main story a bit, or you just say, no, if it's just here to give the main beats of the information, then it can be just a special. But, I mean, I don't want to sound too harsh, because I still had mostly fun reading through it.
It's a fun ride, but like I say, it's a bridge between Metal and New Justice. It's there it's a status quo shifter rather than a big story in itself.
Yeah.
But it's pretty fun.